Hello, my name is Michael, and welcome to an online edition of The Works. The Works is for kids ages 6 to 12 who like to tinker, build, get messy, and explore. And it's a way for you to engage in science, technology, engineering, art, and math, or STEAM. So every other week, I'll have a new project for you to try at home, and I'll be focusing on a different part of STEAM learning every week. This week, we're going to be doing a little bit of investigation into fingerprints. So if you picked up a kit for this week, I'll go ahead and show you the contents here. So the kit this week is going to have some cornstarch and some kind of pieces of foam. And we're going to be using the foam pieces to actually take our fingerprint. So very simple project this week, but we're going to be using a little resource guide to kind of teach you a little bit about it and show you some other ways to use fingerprints. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and we're going to learn a little bit about fingerprints. Okay, so if you can see my screen here, this page, it's ourfamilycode.com, Fingerprint Science. So we're going to learn a little bit about the different types of fingerprint kind of characteristics. And, you know, most people know that a fingerprint is individual and it stays unchanged throughout the life of that person, unless it's damaged due to scars or something like that. A latent print is a print that is on a surface but cannot be seen. An arch are ridges that begin on one side of the print and then exit on the other side. A loop, right here, ridges that begin and end on one side of the print. You can see it loops back around here, one kind of long curve that comes back around. This is the arch we already mentioned. Starts on one side and then arches all the way to the other side. And then the whorl, and that's a print that has at least one ridge that makes a complete circle. And so this is kind of part of spy games, is what I named it for this week, because we're learning about fingerprints. They're kind of in our everyday life all around us. And there's a bunch of different ways to look at fingerprints and find them. So if you have an ink pad or a balloon, that's a good way to do it. The supplies today are very simple, but if you have a balloon and some sort of ink pad, marker, or darker dusts, like maybe a cacao powder or something like that, you can roll your finger in the ink pad or the powder, press it on a deflated balloon, and then what you're doing is going to blow up the balloon and check out the ridges, and it'll blow up your fingerprint and you can see a lot of more detail. And if you want to print this out at home or at the library, you can fingerprint the family, and every finger is going to have a different sort of characteristic, different pattern. If you have a magnifying glass, you can really zoom in and see all the individual characteristics. Another nice trick I learned is if you have a phone or a tablet, you can take a picture of it and then zoom in on that picture to show the fingerprint much more zoomed in. So if you don't have a magnifying glass, but you do have a tablet or a smartphone, just take a picture of it and then zoom in and you can get really close details. If you have a can of soda, you can kind of put your own fingerprints on it. This website gives us the hint. If your fingers are too dry, you can rub them on your head to make them a little more oily, and then you can maybe see the fingerprint. Now, if you have somebody in the house that has a paintbrush, makeup brush, you can dust that you can dust that object like this soda can with a fine dusting of the powder. So if you have a makeup brush, a paintbrush, you can kind of dip it in the cornstarch, lightly go over the print to dust it. And then you can take a piece of clear tape, put it over the print, rub the tape to make it stick, and then pull the tape off, and then stick it to a piece of paper. You should be able to see kind of the print that's left over. And so these are kind of some of the ways, a very basic way to take fingerprints. And there was sort of so many ways to do this that I didn't include all of them in the kit, but most of this stuff you're going to be able to have access at home. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take a few quick fingerprints. So I'm going to lower my camera. So we have our cornstarch. And what I'm going to do is put my thumb in it. And we're going to take our first fingerprint. Just kind of roll my thumb. Okay. Let's see if my webcam will zoom in. Doesn't look like it's wanting to really focus or zoom. However, what you can see is my fingerprint is pretty clear actually on that, or my thumbprint. And it looks like I have a whorl type fingerprint. So now we're going to do my index finger on the next one. And you kind of just want to roll it. And so you can take all your fingerprints. What's nice about this foam is that you could wash it off with some water, let it dry, and then take your fingerprints again. So you can kind of do it as many times as you want. So today's lesson is very quick, sort of in the theme of spy games, and just a little information about fingerprint science. I think it's pretty interesting, the different types of fingerprints that people can have, and how they can aid in solving crimes, how they can aid in identifying people. So yeah, if you want more information, you can search ourfamilycode.com and search for Fingerprint Science, and you're going to learn a bunch of information. So I hope you enjoyed today's lesson, and until next time, we will see you. Thanks.